Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence. Prez and Teddy covers is my co-host. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And we got a great lineup today. Bryan Leonard on. He's going to talk some NHL. The Dallas Vegas Golden Knights game goes tonight. And tomorrow, the Carolina New York Islanders game. Then we've got Drew Martin with 2 baseball bets. Carmine, Bianco with more hockey. And Teddy, what's your big game breakdown?
Big game breakdown. We're talking NBA for Monday night action. You better believe it. I'm breaking down the Pelicans and the Thunder. Will it be a sweep? Will it be a high-scoring game? Stay tuned. Find out.
Wow, I'm gripped already. Can we just go straight to your big game breakdown? No.
If you want to, but that's not the way the show is designed.
Okay. Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. Bri, big night for you. We'll get into that right after. Let's take apart the first game. Dallas playing Vegas here, and nobody's won at home yet. Dallas is minus 112 playing Vegas. They have the opportunity to tie this series up, get it back to Dallas. It's pretty much must-win mode right now for a lot of these teams, including Dallas tonight. Are they going to get it done?
Yeah, last game I had Dallas, and a lot of people out here in Vegas thought I was crazy. How do you take a team that Vegas is already up 2-0? Now you're coming back home. Well, the line told you what the right side in that game was, as Dallas went off as a slight favorite. And they're the right side again in this one tonight, I believe, as the Golden Knights have scored a total of 4 goals in 5-on-5 play in the first 3 games of this series. They're very fortunate to score 2 early goals in the opener and held on because of their defensive goaltending. Afterwards, we talked about the amount of shots on goal. When Vegas has an early lead, they're going to take the air out of the tires and play good defense, and that worked in game 1. But unfortunately, it did not work last time. Coming back home fat and happy after a 2-0 start to this series, they were a no-show in game 3. Goalie Logan Thompson was the only player who seemed to take the game seriously, and he himself kept the Knights in that contest. Even with the game tied at 2-2, the MoneyPuck.com website had Dallas with an over 94% chance to win that game on their deserve-to-win meter. Dallas did win that game in overtime, what was one of the most dominating offensive performances of the playoffs for a team that only scored 3 goals. Dallas was the better team from front to back in that last game, and they're gaining more confidence as it goes on. In fact, they were the better team in game 2 also. They just didn't get that victory. We would expect a big showing tonight from the hosts, but they've now been dominated the last 7 periods. Dallas had the best record in the West for a reason, while Vegas should surely play much better in this game tonight, in what is many consider to be the toughest building for visitors to play in. Just can't ignore who has been the better team in this series. Vegas needs to have the lead entering the first break. If they don't, we can't see them having the offensive ability to win this one. We expect this to be a low-scoring affair. The betting value is on the Stars. And if you take a look at the advanced metrics in all occasions between these first 2 games, Dallas is dominated, even though they haven't gotten the victories. This is where you win in sports betting, is looking past the final scores and looking at who is going to win the game. And I caught some of Carmine's show with Andrew earlier on today, and he was dumbfounded that Dallas dominated that game and had to go to overtime to win, and I am too. Watch the entire game. Vegas just did not come to play. It's not like you could just turn it on and turn it off like that. Dallas is the better team, and the line right now in the pick'em range tells you Dallas is going to win, and I believe that's the right side. Unfortunately for my fandom and our Vegas friends, I think Dallas evens up this series.
Bryan, I'm going to jump in quick, and then if Teddy has a follow-up, he can as well. So listen, I like your handicap. It makes sense. I do want to point out that Dallas dominated in game 1 as well, and that was probably their biggest domination. 29 shots for Dallas. They held Vegas to 15 shots. Here's my counter to what you're saying. This Vegas Golden Knights team has won 6 of the last 7 matchups. 6 of 7. The only matchup Dallas has won is in overtime of last game. To me, it's like, what worries me here is that Vegas is up 2-1, and we've seen them at their worst. It feels like Vegas is the team that has to turn it around, even though they're up 2-1. It feels like we're going to get a better Vegas moving forward than we have to date. That's what has kept me off of this play.
I will disagree with you about game one. The reason why Vegas only had 15 shots on goal is because they had an early lead. They had a 2-0 lead. And if you watch the game, they didn't even attempt to try to score. They would just throw the puck down the other end. So that's why you can always take a look at shots on goal, because that's the way Vegas wants to play. That's the way the Islanders used to play. Yeah. They would get that early lead, they flip that down the court, down the ice, and make you beat them defensively. And that's what Vegas does. Vegas is a very good defensive team. I talked about going into game one, how in the last 10 times these two teams have played, Dallas had scored 4 goals once. They had not scored 4 goals in any other game in this series the last 10. And even in that dominating performance, it took overtime to score 3. So I like the under as well as I like the Dallas side in this one. But I've seen Vegas play all season long. That was a no-show for them. They were terrible in that game. But to be able to come out and turn it back on again, I don't know if it's going to happen. Vegas can lose this game, and they're still tied 2-2. But Dallas has to win this game. Dallas cannot lose this game, go down 3-1, and then go back to Dallas where Vegas has already beaten them twice.
And Bryan, I just want to ask you, because you've been a season ticket holder for the Vegas Golden Knights for many years. Does that help you with a read on the team? Do you get too involved in the fandom? I know there are a lot of folks out there that go to games, that have a favorite team. The Knights are your favorite team, I would think, being that you go to all the games. How does that affect you as a handicapper when you're talking about a team that you know better than any other team?
I handicap with my wallet, and that keeps me. If you watch my plays over the years, I have bet against. I'm from Cleveland originally. I have bet against the Cleveland teams more than I have played on them. And being a season ticket holder, I know the team very well. I don't play favoritism. I bet with my wallet, and I see what I see. And I went out after, as I mentioned, after Knights took a 2-0 lead, and people thought I was crazy, that I thought Dallas was going to win. I said, I've seen the first 2 games. Dallas is the better team, and now you're catching them in a pick'em situation, in a must-win situation. Dallas, yes, in the regular season, Vegas has dominated Dallas. The games have meant more. But keep in mind, this Dallas coach was the head coach in Vegas. He knows most of these players. He has not had much luck in this series with Vegas, but Dallas is the better team. There's a reason why they had the best record in the West.
Yeah. This Dallas coach has had no luck, period. Had the best San Jose Sharks teams ever. Couldn't get it done. No faith in this man. Bri, you've got your first 5% play is this your first 5% play period in the entire month of April,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it is in NBA tonight.
It is. And I don't give out many plays during the regular season. I've talked about this in the past. I just admire the guys that can do that, like Teddy, without knowing who's going to play. It's so hard to handicap. In the playoffs, you know who's going to play, and that's why the playoffs are much easier to handicap than the regular season. I think just about anybody who does it will recognize that and admit to that. And 5% play going tonight in the NBA, and I haven't had any 5% in hockey or baseball in the month of April. So this is the best play we've had all month in any sport.
There we go. Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. You're watching WagerTalk Today. Let's turn our attention to Tuesday's game. Carolina Hurricanes, a huge favorite, minus 245, coming off of a loss against the New York Islanders. How are you betting this game?
I wanted to put this one up today because I won't be on the show tomorrow. Gives us a full day to try to figure out a way to be able to play Carolina without necessarily having to lay that 245 price that's out there right now. So we got plenty of time to get our bets in for this one. The Hurricanes lead the series 3-1 with the home teams taking control. Totally different than the last series we talked about. New York played well at home the last two games. Even though they lost the first game at home, they were able to win that one. Both these games, they've been very good at home. It took overtime goal to keep them still in this series from being swept. The Islanders, including the playoffs, are 18-25 on the road this season. They have not played well on the road consistently all season long. Carolina, on the other hand, 29-14 while playing at home. With the next round opponent, the Rangers, having swept the Capitals, it's imperative this Carolina team ends this series as soon as possible. In fact, the other two Eastern Conference teams, the series are 3-1. So for Carolina, who is struggling a little bit sometimes in the playoffs, they always come in to be one of the favorites, and they don't seem to get there a lot. This is the playoffs in the NHL are very tough. Whoever wins the NHL championship deserves it every single year because it's a much tougher road than it is in any other sport. The two Eastern Conferences, as I mentioned, both 3-1, so they could finish off very quickly here. So it's imperative that the Hurricanes get this victory. And I mentioned the Hurricanes have been dominant in the regular season. This is a show-me game for them. They should have beaten the Islanders. They had that chance, lost in overtime. Now they bounce back big here. I like Carolina in this one. If you don't like to lay that 245, let's find another way to bet it. We got a full day to look at that. But Carolina's going to be the right side against the Islanders tomorrow.
Look for the Hurricanes to take care of business. And, of course, final day today for a pair of great discounted packages at WagerTalk.com. Buy 3 days, get one free. It's a $39 value. You can use that for Bryan Leonard's 5% big ticket in the NBA, his first big ticket in April, his first 5% in April. Or we have playoffs to preseason for just about $5 per day. Get you every play, every day, in every sport for the capper of your choice. So you can get a short term, buy 3 days, get 1 day free. You can get a longer term all the way to the NFL preseason for just about $5 a day right now at WagerTalk.com. Bryan, you talked about your 5% play in NBA for tonight. Anything else you'd like to promote before we let you go?
I'm still working on the baseball card. I want to get a look at the the lineups today before I release any baseball. So I probably will have baseball up. You've gotten my Dallas play in hockey. That's my best play on the card today. So we're pretty much set. Best of luck to everybody tonight, and let's have a big day.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. Thanks for joining us, brother. Teddy covers. What did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
We got to talk a little NBA weekend recap. 8 playoff series. Let's talk a little bit about all 8 of them right now. Real quick, just quick hitter fashion. First one's a little bit longer. That's the Cavs against Orlando, which was the early game on Saturday. That was a bizarre game. Cleveland, first half, no problem. Cleveland's up what? They're still up 5 inside 8 minutes of the third quarter. 67-62. And then Orlando went on, I think it was a 30-3 run, 92-70 by the first minute of the fourth. Franz Wagner dominant. The Cavs role players so good in stretches of the regular season. They really were no-shows in both games in Orlando. And, of course, Cleveland's 29 second-half points. The game stayed under by a hook. Although, to be fair, there was all kinds of drama with the total. Cavs hit a shot. Mavs dribbled out. Normally, the other team dribbles out, but the Cavs hit another shot to get to 201. Of course, total closed 201.5. Worth noting, Cleveland now 1-9 straight up, 2-8 against the spread. Their last 10 on the highway. The only win came at Utah. 7 of the 9 losses came by double digits. They have not been playing good basketball on the road. What do we talk about at the start of the postseason? Teddy's rules of playoff betting. When a team is done, they're done. New Orleans, no Zion, no chance. That was another team whose supporting cast has disappeared. OKC figured it out in game 2. Easy 5% big ticket winner for the Clients and I in game 3. And under with room to spare, the Pelicans couldn't score. And another easy 5% winner, Ski and Ronald Kabang both had the Celtics on Saturday. Boston not amused after losing at home. And the Heat just have no offensive answers when they're not draining a franchise record in threes like they did in game 2. Celtics and under on Saturday, both easy right side. And the Lakers showed up. Game 4 is not always about Cancun. The Nuggets didn't play well. LA 4-0 in the first halves in the series. The Nuggets were 3-0 in the second halves. Now they're 3-1. Series goes back to Denver. Embiid wasn't right. The Sixers aren't good enough when Embiid's not right. Embiid hit that cheap shot on Brunson, woke him up. And then the Nova, the Villanova trio, DiVincenzo, Hart, Brunson, all the Knicks fans in Philly. That was impressive from New York. Shorthanded New York. I should have had the under in that game. I didn't. Big difference in the game 4s. The series that are 2-1, look for unders. The series that are 3-0, look for overs, like the Suns and the T-Wolves, which flew over. And that one made me. I leaned Phoenix first half. I leaned Minnesota for the game. That's exactly what happened. But I'm like, I can't play it. If I lean one way first half, the other way game, I'm not going to do it. I passed. Anyhow, Suns win first half. T-Wolves sweep the series, and the game went over the total with room to spare. The Bucks fought the good fight, but the Portis ejection was too much for them to overcome. With no Giannis and no Lillard, Pacers started raining threes in the second half, and gee whiz, Doc Rivers is facing elimination as the higher seed. Who'd have thunk it? And of course, the Clippers. Rain and threes as well. 18 of 29 from three-point range. There was heavy under money in that game against the Mavericks. Under money no good when LA is draining three-pointers. That series goes back to LA, tied 2-2. So there's a weekend recap. What happened from a betting standpoint. If you didn't see any of the games, there's my quick take. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, I had an epic loss last night. I for one of our listeners, firstly, thanks us. I scrolled up. I can't see his name, but he thanks. I had a 5% play on Friday. It cashed. Easy cash. You had a 5% play on Saturday. Just as easy a cash. But man, last night I was on Nashville Predators. They were up 3-1 with 3 minutes to go in the game. What?
Yeah. And they missed the empty net.
Yeah, they missed the empty net. Yep. And then with 6 seconds on the clock, Vancouver tied it up. Overtime didn't make it a minute in, and Vancouver cashed that ticket. Oh, I was utterly gutted, and it made me 2-3. So I did not have a winning night, which was my first not winning night in a long while. Yeah, you were about to say something.
The one thing I will say is that if you're gonna these hockey overtimes can be endless. If you're gonna lose it, I'd rather lose it 2 minutes into overtime than sit through 3 overtimes, and you're just beyond vested in those. So, silver linings, buddy. We look for little silver linings. You lost it early.
Yeah. Great. I have a 5% play tonight. Listen, I had one on Friday at one easy, and I don't have a lot of 5% plays. Frankly, I don't have a lot of 4% plays or even 3% plays. I'd say 80% of my plays are 2% plays. It just is coincidental that I have a 5% play up tonight, and it's a big freaking play. It's an NBA. This is only my second 5% NBA play of the entire season. I did lose my first one, so hope to get that back tonight. This is probably the biggest bet I've made in the NBA since November. So guys, please head over, take a look at what I've got going for my clients tonight, a 5% NBA play. I am passing in NHL, but I will have some baseball coming up soon. Drew Martin joining us, everyone. And Drew, always a pleasure to have you with us, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, Prez. Happy Monday morning to you. You as well, TC. And got a couple baseball games we're going to be breaking down here, guys.
Well, let's get straight to it. The New York Yankees, I had them on Saturday, and they did not cover for me. They're playing Baltimore, plus 100 to 120. Where are we going here?
Wait, the Yankees on Saturday?
You must have had them on
Then
Friday.
it was Friday. It was one,
Yeah.
dude. It all blends. Like, am I wrong? Like Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, it's all the same to me. Anyway, the last time I had the Yankees, they lost, bastards.
Well, it wasn't on Saturday. It wasn't on Sunday here, Prez, because they've scored 15 runs each of the last 2 games against the Brewers. So that's scoring 30 runs in their last 2. So this lineup's hot right now, and we get Clark Schmidt on the hill for the Bronx Bombers. Former first rounder, 2017, out of South Carolina. The Gamecock has a 3.5 ERA and a 29-10 strikeout to walk ratio. So he's got solid numbers. Seeing the Yanks with the plus price next to him, it catches my eye here, guys. Up against Baltimore, we know the Orioles have been arguably the most, profitable team in all of sports betting since opening day of 2022, up over 60 units of profit if you're just betting them blindly. But off of this past weekend, guys, they lost 2 of 3 to the Oakland A's. One is a minus 200 favorite. One is a minus 300 favorite almost. So they've lost some money here of recent. Are they getting a little bit overpriced? I don't know if I would say that just yet. But in this matchup, I think they are a little bit. And Grayson Rodriguez, really good numbers overall. But in his last start, he's coming off of his worst start. 4 innings pitched, 7 earned runs against the Angels. Yankees have been good against righties. Top 3 lineup by weighted runs created plus off of righties. And we get a bullpen advantage here with the Yankees. Top 5 bullpen by my numbers. So last night when I sent over the plays, it was plus 120, risk 100 to win 120. Looks like the market agreeing with this Yankees side. So it's been pushed down a little bit. But either way, I think the wrong team's favored. Let's go with the Yankees in the first game up on the MLB card tonight.
So just about every Friday, we have Arthur Caesar on from the Westgate Superbook, a risk management supervisor at the Westgate. And I specifically asked him about the Baltimore Orioles. I'm like, Baltimore is being priced so cheap. Baltimore, what's the story with the Orioles? And his answer was like, there's just not a lot of betting market respect for Baltimore. The wise guys aren't in love with this team. What's your take on, is Baltimore a bet on team? Is Baltimore a bet against team? They certainly got off to a solid start. But there's a level of disrespect in the broader betting markets for the Orioles right now that has surprised me a little bit. Are you seeing that? And what's your take on Baltimore moving forward? Or not, for the next few weeks?
Yeah, no, interesting angle there, Teddy. I guess I wouldn't fall into that camp, at least just yet. I guess this past weekend, they would have been right in terms of looking to go against the Orioles or not giving them too much respect. But, I mean, this team has kind of been a moneymaker, multiple years now. And they're in the AL East playing against teams that spend a whole lot of money, have bigger name players, and they're kind of young, a good nucleus here. And they're playing good baseball overall over the long term. No, Teddy. I mean, they're sitting at 17-10. They're only 1 game back from being on the, leaderboard of the AL East here. So I would not fall in that camp, Teddy. I really wouldn't. I'd be on the other side. I will say this, Art DeCesar, last time I was in Westgate, we had a long conversation, and we were talking about you two guys. He likes his spot. He likes the show. So it was cool to see, a lot of people recognizing WagerTalk Today and him really being a part of it.
Well, speaking of recognizing WagerTalk Today, guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a moment, take a second, hit that thumbs up button. It would be greatly appreciated. And subscribe to our channel, Teddy. Last week we reached 150,000 subscribers. We've picked up over 1,000 since then. And a lot of it's to do with you guys. A bunch of you guys, spread the word, and it's really appreciated. We also did a survey for new customers, and 42% of them mentioned that they heard about WagerTalk from this very show. That makes us so happy. We really try our hardest to do incredible work. I mean, Teddy does. Like, honestly, I show up and just do the show, but Teddy puts in work before this show begins. Is that a negative reflection on me? No, I'm just that good. I don't need preparation. Drew Martin, Chicago Cubs coming off of 2 losses in a row, both to Boston. One of them was 17-0. And now they're playing the Mets. Yeah, sure. The Mets won their last game. This team stinks. How do we bet this game?
I like the Metropolitans here, Prez. They're at home in Citi Field, and we get the Sunday night baseball fade. That's the Cubs playing in Sunday night baseball with travel, with no day off. So that is an effect right here. They got walked off in the 9th inning against the Boston Red Sox. Luis Severino, he's a guy I actually saw pitch in spring training. You know, he's throwing 95, 96 miles per hour, under a 2.7 ERA, 26-9 strikeout to walk ratio. He's a guy I'm looking to bet on right now. And not that Jameson Taillon isn't. He's also by my numbers a pretty good pitcher himself. 1 earned run in each of his first 2 starts this year. So I think it's kind of a wash at the starting pitching kind of angle here. It's really handedness of pitcher, guys. The Mets are a top 10 team by weighted runs created plus against right-handed pitchers, whereas the Chicago Cubs bottom half in MLB. So I actually give the offensive lineup advantage, even though the overall numbers wouldn't show it, to the Mets at home. And really it comes down to the later innings here in handicapping these bullpens. The Mets a top 5 bullpen, and the Cubs a bottom 10 bullpen. They just gave it up last night. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens again here, guys. So the Cubs, good start to the season, 17-11, but they are under 500 on the road. So let's go with the Mets here, minus 130, if you can find it right now on the WagerTalk live odds screen.
Yeah, minus 130 is long gone. I'm looking at minus 150, minus 155, minus 160. The market's very much agreeing with Drew Martin's assessment of this ballgame. And I'm going to ask you a question, a two-parter, Drew. And the first part's a simple yes or you know, is one or the other. Which of these teams is going to have a better record at the end of the season?
I'd probably go with the Cubs only because their schedule is going to be
that's it. That's all I'm saying. So, because I'm with you, I think the Cubs are more likely to have a better record at the end of the season. Why are we laying $1.50, $1.60 against a team that we know is going to have, we expect to have the better record at the end of the season?
It's a great question, and to tell you the truth, I'm not 100% certain in the fact that they're going to have a better record. I just needed to answer your question.
You
really
answered it perfectly to make my follow work.
Okay. I'd go back to the bullpen. I think the Mets have a better bullpen. So you're right, though. At minus 150, guys, I send the plays over the night before. It's just kind of how I do my work. I handicap the games that, bet into the overnights. I think that's a better way to win. I actually found it at minus $1.25, minus 125 last night. And, to see a 25-cent move, it goes up to minus 150. And Teddy, that's just kind of not my ball game. I don't like, that's not my profile. When I see minus 150s out there, it's not that I won't ever bet it. It just really doesn't catch my attention. I just think there's too much risk for the reward that you get back. So, at this price point, I would actually probably start pumping the brakes a little bit.
Drew Martin, Titans CT writes, Drew is awesome. So, Drew, I was invited to a friend's house when I was 19. They'd just gotten off the boat from South Africa. The mother feeds me an amazing dinner. And I said, oh my God, your dinner was awesome. And she went ballistic. So all full is full of awe. Awesome is some awe. Technically, Titans is insulting you. However, we have changed the definition. So he's actually complimenting you. You got a 5% play up tonight. Totally random, guys. Drew does not have a lot of these 5% plays, nor do I. Mine is my second of the entire NBA season. Bryan's first in April. Drew, you're on a 5-0 baseball run. You got a 5% play and up in MLB. I'm sure it will go awesomely. Tell us why everyone should buy it.
Yeah, Prez, the 5% max limit up and available. If you go back to last season, 5-0. The last 5 5% MLB plays. So trying to ride that 100% run into tonight's action, guys. It's one I really like. I've had this circled for a little while here, guys. So, yeah, not many of them. Actually, you kind of can't have too many 5% anymore. But this is one that I really like. Posting it up here and letting it ride tonight, guys. So always good to be on with you, boys.
Yeah, Drew Martin, everyone. And we do have a limit on 5% plays, and it's only going to get worse or better. Sean Alvarez, how was golf with my dad? Sean, it was great. I'm golfing with him on Wednesday again this week. However, I will not miss the show. We're going to golf later on in the afternoon, but I putted like a god. Teddy, we got a question from the chat room from Bam Golf. When is it advantageous to bet series price in playoffs versus just betting single games? You want to attack that from an NBA perspective?
From an NBA standpoint, I like to bet series prices after the team just lost a game. That's when I bet. That's the time to bet it.
Anything specific there? The team that's favored.
I want to bet on the team that just lost. Indiana lost game 1 at Milwaukee. You bet Pacers right there. You bet the Mavs lost game 1 against the Clippers. Bang. You bet Dallas right there. I like to take plus prices with teams facing a deficit that I think are capable of winning the series. But so my favorite time to bet is after the team that I expect to win just lost a game. That's for me.
There you go. I don't bet a lot of series, Teddy. I did bet 2 NBA series, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. But on a whole, I bet when it jumps out at me is the answer to me. It's like when I feel like there's value there, and I have no specific criteria. And most of my bets are when they jump out at me. I look at the NHL board and it's like, what play is talking to me? So, and I usually reverse. This is interesting too. I usually reverse engineer my analysis. So I don't write my analysis up to justify a game. I pick my game and I pick my bet, and then I come up with analysis to justify the bet. Does that make sense?
Sure. That's the way, everyone's got their own style of handicapping. That's your style. It's all good, man. I mean, write-ups are a rationale for why we make the bet. A lot of it, I do my best to explain the rest. So some write-ups are easier. Some write-ups are harder. There are definitely times where you write up a game and it doesn't sound right, but it's the right side. So, it's a piece of the equation.
The worst is when I write up my free picks. My free picks are sick. Like, honestly, you guys head over and read my free picks. You cannot believe how many I win. And when I'm writing them up, I'm like, oh, man, this should be a client play. Anyway, it's time for your big game breakdown and Carmine, Bianco, and we'll end the show with the penalty box segment. Go, bro.
Let's do it. Big game breakdown time. Let's talk NBA Monday night. And the brooms may be out in New Orleans. The Oklahoma City Thunder, 5-point road favorites total in this game, sitting at 207. We have seen OKC money. We have seen over money in this ballgame. And frankly, I agree with both. But let's talk about 2-1 series versus 3-0 series. All right. In a 2-1 series, the team that's trailing, man, whatever they have, whatever they can throw defensively at their opponent, they throw. Those games tend, and again, we're talking about long-term sample sizes, tend to go under the total, the competitive game 4s. When we're talking about series that are 3-0, it's a whole different story. All right. We already know how the series is going to end. OKC is going to win this series. And oftentimes the team trailing, they'll play with reckless abandon. The defensive effort isn't quite what it was. The offensive effort, perhaps greater than it was. Similarly, the opponent that's up 3-0 in this series, the edge is off. And oftentimes you see the defensive intensity tend to lack. Now, for the purposes of this game, I think a first half bet is better than a full game bet. I'm worried about the fourth quarter of this one. If OKC is up 20, the pace could die. If New Orleans is up 20, the pace could die. It feels to me like I want to get in and out of this one by halftime when it comes to betting this over. So let's not worry about any late game shenanigans. Let's expect some pace. And let's be honest, OKC's figured out New Orleans defense. And New Orleans missed a whole lot of open looks in each of the last 3 ball games. I think some of those looks fall tonight. And I look for first half over the total. The markets are with me. Unfortunately, this one has moved, and it's another one we're not getting the best of the number. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. There were 105s out there earlier. Now we're looking at 106s for the first half over. I still like it. Take Thunder and Pelicans over the total first half. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, in case my dad is listening to this show, it is his 80th birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lawrence's dad.
Yeah, dude. And my dad's a dude, bro. My dad speaks 13 languages fluently. He was like movie star handsome in his youth. Total athletic stud. My dad is a freaking dude. Flat out dude. And he's 80 and he has more energy than me. And I don't think he's ever going to go. And from here on in, every day that he's alive, he's eating through my inheritance. So we need to have a discussion about that. But anyway, happy birthday, Dad. I love you. You're my hero. And I hope to make it to 80. Carmine, Bianco joining us, everyone. Carm, I don't like your second bet.
Oh, that's your problem. That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
Well, let's start right there, okay? We'll talk tomorrow's game first. Toronto Maple Leafs are playing the Boston Bruins. Minus 160, and you're going with the Bruins. I'm going to go with a follow-up after this.
Yeah, game 4 in Toronto on Saturday. I was actually downtown, but I took my wife out for our anniversary, which is tomorrow. We're an anniversary, so I PVR'd the game, and even though I knew the score, I was still going to watch it because when doing puck time, I want to talk about the eye test on this one. Listen, the Leafs' first 2 games in Boston, they played well. They split those 2 games analytically. They held many of the advantages, but they come home, they play 2 games, and the Bruins have just dominated both games, both on the ice and from an analytics point of view. The Toronto core 4 of Matthews, Marner, John Tavares, and now Nylander, who played his first game on Saturday, they just haven't shown up. They may have scored a goal here and there. They just haven't shown up in this series. They're getting outcoached. They're getting outplayed. I just don't see a way out for them. And listen, I took the Leafs to win. I took a play on the Leafs to win the series at plus 105. That's a bad bet now. I know it now. I think I knew it after game 3 that it was a bad bet on Toronto. The Bruins just have their number, have played much better, and they're on home ice with a chance to close out this series. And they're going to want to close out this series because there's a good chance the Florida Panthers close out tonight against Tampa Bay. And all the series we discussed, all the series in the Eastern Conference could be done by the end of tomorrow night. This is just one. There could be problems with Toronto we don't know about. Nylander missed the first 3 games, Prez, because of migraines.
Yep.
And it might not sound like anything, but trying to play with a major migraine is something that they just couldn't afford to put him on the ice. And then there's a problem with Matthews. There's something wrong with Matthews. He hasn't taken part in any of the morning skates. He wasn't on the ice this morning in Toronto. They stuck Domi on the line with Bertuzzi. They stuck Domi on the line with Bertuzzi and Marner. And the number 1 line. And they say it's an illness. We don't know if it's an actual illness or there's something wrong with him physically. But would it surprise me if he didn't play tomorrow night? It wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me. I think the Leafs are done and it ends tomorrow night. I think $1.60 is cheap. They should be more along the price of what the Florida Panthers are tonight at minus 190.
Yeah, listen, as Teddy says, when you're done, you're done. And look, I'm good with the Leafs being done. To hell with that stupid ass team. Get rid of their idiot coach. Get rid of the weakest, softest player in the league in Mitch Marner. And hell yes, get rid of Shanahan. So I am for a complete overhaul of this stupid team. I'm sick of this stupid team. I am now an Edmonton Oiler fan. I don't care about the Leafs. Screw the Leafs. That means that the Leafs are winning tomorrow night. I think you're wrong, Carm. Nothing makes sense about this Leafs team. Nothing. They couldn't win at home last year in the playoffs. They won their road games. They couldn't score all season, all play. They have not put up more than 2 goals only one time in 10 playoff games. They had no effort in the first 2 periods of a must-win game 4. They're winning tomorrow night. They're going to tease me. I'm going to get back on the fan wagon, and then they're going to cut my throat in game 6. So we do not see this Leaf game the same way. My only analysis is nothing makes sense when it comes to the Leafs.
I'll give you a follow-up to that. Listen, nothing is certain. Nothing is guaranteed in life. And nothing's guaranteed the Bruins are going to win tomorrow. But there is no way I would put $1 of my hard-earned money on the Toronto Maple Leafs to go to Boston and win tomorrow. Now, we can always make a gentlemanly friend wager. Friday, we're golfing together.
Well, shave an eyebrow. Eyebrow shave.
No. If the
Thank
Bruins
God.
win, you pay for the round of golf. If the Leafs win, I will pay for the round of golf.
No, I'm getting plus 140. No, I'm a bettor. I bet for a living. I'm not getting sucked into some amateur bullshit, no value bet. No. Sorry.
You should have stuck in no value.
You guys work on the terms of your wager.
But
Yeah,
I
you
will
guys
pay
think
for
about
your
it.
golf anyway, out of straight love for you, Teddy.
Yeah, think about the terms of your wager while Carmine is talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. Florida minus 180, minus 185 in that range. Total 6.5 to the under. You don't want to lay that price with Florida, Carm. You think there's a better way to get the Panthers on Monday night. Tell us what it is and why.
Yeah, I think this series should end tonight, and it's a game in which I don't feel is going to get anywhere close to going to overtime. John Cooper told his team prior to Game 4 in the dressing room, he says, if you guys don't believe we can come back from a 3-0 deficit in this series, you don't belong in the dressing room. You guys can just leave now. They responded by coming out and winning Game 4. And it was a game in which the Florida Panthers played quite possibly one of the poorest games, not only of the playoffs, but you can even go back, their last 10 games or so of the regular season from an analytics point of view. Tampa scored pretty much every way you could score in that game. They got 2 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal. They got a goal 4-on-4. All of Florida's goals were scored 5-on-5. They're a great 5-on-5 team. Don't allow a lot of goals. And now the venue switches back to Florida, where Florida held much of the advantages in all analytics. This is a tough one in the sense of, do you want to lay $1.90? No, I don't want to lay $1.90. But the regulation play here is the price is $1.15. And Florida's going to bounce back from that game. As bad as they played, they made a game of it, and we're only down 4-3 at the end of the second period. They're going to take care of business tonight. This series should be done and dusted by the time that final whistle goes at the end of the third period, with Florida winning. So I'm going to take Florida minus 115 in regulation.
Carm, so I asked Teddy if he wants a follow-up question, and he literally wrote, quote, I'm reading this verbatim, I'm done with him, I'm done with you, and I'm done with the show. Teddy.
For the day.
Yeah.
Just for the day.
Where does this, guys, put up in the comment section where this quote comes from. I had sunny side up. I had sunny side down. I had sunny side all the way around. You know that?
No, Lawrence. Like I said,
Oh,
Carm, what do you have
Teddy,
to promote
you
today,
have
my
it
friend?
so hard. You have it so hard working with me. Carm, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, we're off a 5% winner last night in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers. That's 9-2, the last 11 plays. 3-0 night overall in the NHL, and a very good weekend, 5-1. 3 plays up for tonight, play and props package. You can get over at WagerTalk for only $29. And of course, that great deal that's going on the final day where you can get a 3-day all access and get an extra day. That's going to cover pretty much the whole week with Champions League and Europa League going, in soccer as well, too. You're going to get all of those plays with this deal.
There we go. Carmine Bianco, thanks for joining us. Teddy Tokyo Brandon writes, Teddy is actually really nice in person. Whenever someone puts the word actually in, it's a flat out insult. Like, you are actually good looking. You are actually really smart. So Tokyo just insulted the shit out of you. We're going to have him on the show this week. I want you to take it out on him, Teddy. Take that out on him. Daniel's son, cue up the penalty box segment. Hey, everybody, it's Lawrence Presman here. Time for the penalty box segment. 2 NHL games tonight. I will take apart both of them. Let's get into the first one. The Florida Panthers playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. And as Teddy says, when you're done, you're done. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are done. They played their asses off last game. Kudos to them. 6-3 win over Florida. But this Florida team was down 3-1 last year to the Boston Bruins, and they came back and won in 7. They know what it's like to be on Tampa Bay's side. It's a veteran team, a team that went to the Stanley Cup last year, and a team that is going to get the job done and get it done tonight. The line is minus 184. I have no issue if you guys take this play in regulation, but I will suggest splitting the bet up. Half a unit in regulation, half a unit on the money line. Florida is getting it done tonight. Before we get into the next game, Vegas and Dallas, I want to make mention that I have a 5% NBA play up tonight. This is only my second NBA 5% play of the season. I'm on a 13-1 run in my 4% and 5% plays combined. 13-1 run. I also won my last 2 5% plays easily. So head over to WagerTalk and get my NBA 5%er for tonight. As for the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas, man, I like the under in this game. 5.5 plus 100. Might be a few sixes come up a little later on. But when you look at this game head to head, Dallas has scored over 2 goals on Vegas once in their last 7 games, and that was in overtime in their last game. This Vegas Golden Knights team wants to get up 1-0 and then ice the puck for the rest of the game. And they're not scoring a ton either. So when I look at this game and I see 5, 3-2 at most, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have another 2-2 overtime here. Take under 5 in the Vegas-Dallas game. Teddy covers. We're done. Take us home.
You're not doing 4 minutes today, Lawrence? I figured you'd do 4 minutes like you did when you weren't here. But I guess that's not the case. That's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, each and every weekday, live, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and tomorrow's show, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.